First thing I'll say about science is that science can be thought of as a tool. Science is benign. It does not have a negative or positive intention or goal. It's like a hammer. It's like a spoon. A spoon can help you eat delicious ice cream, or you could, do bad things. Use your imagination. But that's what science is. It's a tool. The way this tool works, the way science works, you could ask a question to science and it will give you an answer. You could ask it anything. You could ask it, how can I get out of jail sooner? You could ask it, how can I make $1 million? How can I make this boat more fuel efficient? How can I get to the moon? I mean, whatever question you want, you could ask it to science. That's the purpose of science, and you will get an answer. Now, the important thing is you have to be unbiased. Unbiased means that when you're asking the question, when you're forming your question, you really cannot have a preconceived notion. You cannot believe the answer before it happens, because science will give you an answer and you may not like it, and you have to accept it. So just to summarize real fast, science is simply a tool that can be used to answer any question you have. In order for this to work correctly, you have to be unbiased. When you go in, you cannot have any preconceived notions, okay? So the last thing about science is there's two components to science. There's two things to science that have to be there. So remember, science, two things. The first thing is, in order for science to work, you have to have repeatability. Repeatability means that something, you say something, you come up with discovery, someone else has to be able to do it consistently. You have to have the repeatability. Now, I hear people say that the paranormal, it lacks repeatability. You know what I say? Yeah, sometimes it does, but you're being lazy if you think that you cannot get repeatability out of the paranormal. You can, just be more creative, be a scientist. So, okay, so the first thing, you have to have repeatability in science, okay? Remember that, repeatability. The second thing is you have to have falsifiability. Falsifiability. Falsifiability means you have to have the ability to prove something false, to say something is not true. Okay, so a lot of people make this mistake. They think that science is about proving something right. Like science is used to prove that this is right. That's incorrect. Science has to be used to prove something wrong. Falsifiability. Okay, so science has to have repeatability, and it has to be able to prove something wrong. It has to have falsifiability. This falsifiability concept is a little confusing, but let me explain. Here's a claim, okay? You go to your buddy's house and he says, there's an invisible dragon living in my garage, okay? So there's a claim, okay? So you're like, let me use science to discover if there's really an invisible dragon in my buddy's garage. Science is perfect for this, okay? So then, like I said, science, you ask it questions. So the question would be, is there a invisible dragon in my friend's garage? Okay, so now this is where falsifiability comes in. So you're actually not trying to find out if there is a dragon. You're trying to say, can I prove that there isn't a dragon? So this is how you do it, for instance. So let's say you tell your friend, okay, what if we pour some paint on the dragon? I know it's invisible. Let's pour some paint on it, right? And then we should be able to see its outline, okay? And your friend says, no, that won't work because the dragon's got a force field and the paint will just slide off. You're like, okay, fine. That's cool, man. That's cool. So, okay, I can't prove it. I can't prove you wrong because you're saying that the paint will go away. So then you say, okay, how about this? That's fine, dude. That's fine. Okay, what if we use like a heat sensor camera? And then your friend says, no, that's not going to work because it could modulate its temperature. Okay, so I think you get the point, okay? That claim lacks falsifiability. You cannot use science with that claim because your friend is saying it's impossible to prove it does not happen. Let me summarize it all. Science is a tool. It's not good or bad. It is used to answer questions, any question you have. But in order for it to work, you have to be unbiased. You have to not have an answer in your mind. And you have to have repeatability. So whatever you discover has to happen over and over again. And number two, it has to have falsifiability. Whatever you're trying to discover, you have to be able to prove it false. Not prove it right, but prove it false. That being said, I think almost any claim in the paranormal can be studied with science. Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts, on and on. All of those claims can be studied using science.